Hello, this is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, formerly known as ipaintgirls.com. And so I haven't done a painting in a while. This painting took me an hour and 5 minutes, and I have sped it up to about 6 minutes. So that way you won't be bored watching the whole thing. If you want, like painting tutorials or step-by-step painting in real time, and then I do have a couple free tutorials like that here on the YouTube channel. You can also go to the website, masterpaintingnow.com, and you can see the free tutorials in the painting section under lessons, and there you also find some there's two really long ones, real time. One's done in Painter and one's done in Photoshop. So if you're interested in that, go ahead. I also have a couple courses on painting and how to paint and everything with digital painting. Right, so notice the first thing I do is I block in her body shape. And I block it with kind of like a light color first. I know it's going to be a very pale picture. I have my color scheme laid out ahead of time, in which I made some swatches there, as you can see in my color palette. So those swatches I pre-made, and that's my color scheme. Those are the colors I'm going to use, and I'm going to try to use them as saturated as possible. In other words, what I'm going to try to do the least amount of times is using the color picker tool. Rather, I'm going to try to use pure colors and just lay them on top of each other. So I have a female, and she's going to be laying down, kind of like sort of propping herself up on some sort of material. I don't know what it is yet, and I just kind of leave it hard instead of soft for some reason. I try to experiment with some interesting colors, like using some greens and blues into her skin, trying to get more of a stylistic look rather than such a realistic look. And I think it came out pretty cool. One thing I'm focusing on is form. So I painted the whole thing just focusing on form. I'm not focusing on details at all. I'm just purely focusing on form. In fact, that's all I focus on for the entire painting is form. I don't ever zoom in. Well, I zoom in one time on the face just because it was giving me trouble from that far away, and so I had to zoom in just a little bit to get the face a little bit more detailed. But the whole thing is just focusing on form and nothing but form. I really kind of wanted to show the power of form. Like, form is so important, and so I really recommend getting the course when it comes out. The new course I've been working on is form, and it's also going to go through perspective and lighting, how to light things. But how to light things is all about form. Form and lighting is one subject. You can't divorce the two. And so that's what I focus on the entire time. And I noticed a couple things I didn't like as I was painting it is this is the downfall of starting with like a painting rather than more of a sketch. But I noticed I didn't like the breast, so I had to move her breast down to make it look better. But the other thing I wanted to do is, after I was looking at it for a while, I'm like, okay, I kind of wanted to bend her waist more, like kind of put more pressure there. So I think her waist would kind of bend down a little bit further because of the way she's holding herself up. And just put more gravity there and just kind of push that. But another thing is, I think her back arm is back too far. Like she's trying to, it looks like she's just pushing it back too far. It should be closer to her midsection, I think, coming more straight down. But yeah, so then if I did that though, then I'd have to put her arm further away, and then you only see like her hand, and that looked kind of weird. So anyway, I don't think her arm is quite natural in that position that it's in. I could have just made it disappear altogether, and it'd just be hidden by her body behind her. But yeah, I use very pale colors in this. It's just a certain style choice I was playing around with. I'm playing around with a really stylistic kind of way of a color palette here, and it's a very pale color palette. But I think it comes out pretty cool. It's kind of interesting using the greens and the blues and stuff heavy into the skin like that. I decided to kind of give her this makeup look, like her. She has a whole kinds of makeup on. She's been crying or something, and so it's all just kind of like dripping down her face and kind of weird looking, but it's kind of cool. And notice I don't add any details really to her face. I just keep it with the basic forms. And the same thing with the body. I don't really add any detail to the body. I mean, a little bit, but for most of the part, it's just basic forms. And that's what I'm focused on here. And what you can do then is practice this when you do a painting. Stay zoomed out the entire time. Don't zoom in unless something's really bothering you, like the face. But try for the whole time to stay zoomed out. Use an artistic brush. I'm using a standard brush that comes with Photoshop. It's one of the chalk brushes, and I stay zoomed out. And all I do is I change the size of the brush. I start with big, and I go smaller and smaller as I want to add a little bit more detail. But the main thing you focus on is form. It's a great exercise, and it really helps you. Of course, you kind of have to know the form of the thing you're drawing, and which is why I recommend getting my new course coming out, which will be Form and Dynamic Lighting and Perspective, because that's the fundamentals of drawing anything good. If you want to make something look 3D, you want to make it pop off the page, you want to make it look real, you have to learn form, lighting, or lighting and form is one subject, and perspective. It's just you can't skip it. So if you like my teaching style, then definitely you want to look forward and get that course once it's available. Right. So the face, I didn't want to get too detailed. Like I said, the main thing I was trying to focus on is form. I was just trying to show the power of form, that if the form is there, it will actually look like something. And it's just amazing how powerful form is. Without any detail, form handles most everything. So if the form's right, which means the foundation's right, then when you add all the details you want onto it, it's all going to look correct because the form is correct. If the form's not correct, though, you can add all the cool texturing and awesome details as you want, and people are just going to go, I don't know, it just doesn't quite look right. Also, I think speed paintings are just really cool looking. A speed painting is, you're just really trying to capture the brush strokes and stuff like that. It's really cool if you use like live paint, like real paint, and do it. And Painter actually has come a long way. And if you get one of the the newer versions of Painter, and I might actually do that next, do a similar painting like this with a similar kind of weird color scheme style, and just use the heavy brushes, the oil brushes and stuff, and try to get that really painterly, just kind of quick painted look. I think it's really cool looking. But yeah, so that's about it. Thank you for watching.